Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. Hello, Carrie. Hello, Jack. Hi, Gwen. Hello, Anne. How is everybody today? Welcome to Coffee with the Council. I'm worn out. It's only Tuesday. Whew. How are you guys? What's going on? What's this late? How about this one? That one's good. Thank you, Carrie. I needed something very soothing today. And water is one of the most soothing things for me. As a Pisces and just somebody who loves the ocean. Ooh, the ocean looks great, Jack says. Yes, indeed. How's the music? Everybody hearing the music okay? And not hearing my fan whirring? Heavy start for you too, huh, Anne? Yesterday was such an incredibly long and stressful day for me. It is very rare that I have stressful days. Even if they're very full or very busy, I don't get really stressed. But I had two family members that were in the throes of a lot of emotions around some things that are happening for them. And over 82 texts worth about it. And that was all afternoon, pretty much. And I was trying to do my taxes yesterday, and I hadn't prepared well for them. So I had some shocks and surprises, and meanwhile, I had work to do for my part-time job, which I love. So it just ended up, I didn't actually sit down for supper till 7 p.m. And then I realized, oh, snap, I didn't upload the replay from Monday morning's Coffee with the Council. So I didn't get the replay up until about 7 or 8 last night. So it was just one of those days, and then I woke up this morning feeling exhausted. So I have a nap in my near future after my 10 o'clock work meeting. Carrie, you're going to the beach? That sounds lovely. Jack's been on a lovely woodland walk with your niece and her 2 young daughters. Good for the soul. That sounds lovely. Yes. Well, the nice thing about the little snafu that I had with the taxes was that I realized, oh, I'm not prepared. I don't have myself financially organized as a business, but I have this motto. I've had this motto for the last year in my life, that I am responsible with my money. It's a really, really nice motto, and I really do believe it. And so paying taxes, or at least filing my taxes, is part of being responsible with my money. But another part of being responsible with my money is I need to get an accountant. Not need, I hate saying those words. I want to get an accountant and someone who can advise me in those regards, because I do anticipate growing as a business, I'm certainly self-employed right now. And so I wish to be better prepared. So and I'm not, even though I am responsible and good with my money, I don't know everything there is to know about money. So finding a professional to help me will actually be a huge step. So I'm actually, I could actually look at, right? Like we were talking about yesterday, how there's no duality in Is-ness, or how did they say it? Is-ness holds no duality. That's what the council was saying yesterday. So as I was going through these struggles with filing my tax return, on the other side, when I wake up this morning, I'm like, oh, I'm appreciating how it's showing me that I can be better prepared for next year. And that's a worthy goal for me, because I do anticipate my finances to expand this year personally. And I wish to be prepared and not to wait till the last minute like I did this year. Although, realistically, I would have not been able to actually file my taxes at any point until now. And right, so there was tension and there was stress in it, right? But there were all these other is-ness type aspects. It's just what it is, right? It's just how it is right now. You know, I was for a moment, I was lamenting, why didn't I do this earlier in the year, right? Well, I wasn't in the financial position to do it. Honestly, I wasn't ready to do it. So there isn't a right or wrong in the way that I approached it. Would I like to do better next year? Absolutely. But is it the way that it's supposed to be right now? Absolutely. So there is a beautiful example of is-ness. Good morning, April. Carrie says, I've started to come to a better realization is-ness. Well, today I think the council is going to continue talking a little bit about what was going on yesterday. We're starting to get into the meat of is-ness. Is this anyone's first time with us today? Hello, my name is Greg Phillips. I'm a way shower, which is a type of a light worker that guides people, and a channel. And today we are channeling messages from the Council of Seven, my beautiful group of guides that I've been working with for the last year, who love and celebrate us on a regular basis. And they've been talking to us for the last 9 days about is-ness. Carrie says, yeah, just let what it is be what it is-ness. Quit trying to control it. Yes, indeed. I think that may be not the control, but I sense that might relate to the topic today. So, I think we will get into it. Anybody want to say hi if it's your first time? Hello, welcome to you. Tell us where you're from, how you're doing. Yes, yesterday's session was so powerful that I literally couldn't remember what we talked about. When I went to upload the replay, I couldn't remember. I had to rewatch the majority of it, which was really good for me because I needed to hear what the council had to say, just based on how my day went yesterday. So it was really fascinating, though. It's very rare that I don't remember what the council said, so I must have been really, really quite gone during yesterday's transmission. Carrie says, oh good, I've been asking the council to really hit me with a message. Really hit you with a message. Wow, okay. We'll find out. Bam! So I guess we have old timers here. Nobody new or nobody who wants to say hello. That's fine. You could always say hello later. I think we'll get started. And you're new? Oh, welcome. So glad to have you here. Where are you from? Oh, no problem. Stepped away. You've got to take care of life while you're on a stream, right? Texas, yay. Welcome from Texas. Hey, Suleiman, nice to see you slide in, buddy. Very, very good to have you here. Just us. I created a new term in Blossom Violet's stream yesterday. Firsties, people who are the first time to a session with an individual, the teacher. Hello, CB, welcome back. Second time checking out Monday's replay. Yeah, it was really potent. It was about how is-ness holds no duality. You're welcome, Anne. It's nice to have you here. We have a beautiful little community. If you find value or find your heart touched or filled in any way from this session, I do invite you to follow me on Insight Timer. And if anybody is looking to have a place where they can share about Coffee with the Council messages, we have a beautiful little group called Coffee with the Council on Insight Timer. You can find that through my teacher profile page. We also have another group called our Happy Little Bubble, which is just for all things that I'm doing on Insight Timer. But I made it a group distinctly for Coffee with the Council so that you guys could chit-chat amongst yourselves, just for you. Hello, Madeline. Good to see you today. Spell checker keeps changing April's name. That's funny. I have never, ever been to Texas. Good morning, Melinda. Nice to see you, my friend. April is spell checked. That's too funny. All right, it's 10 minutes in, and I would like to try to keep this to our half hour because I have much to do today. Again, including a long nap at some point. I love naps. Anyways, many blessings and thanks to all of you for being here today. It is your presence at the lives that help bring forth the messages from the council, because otherwise I'd be sitting in my own room just talking to them or talking to myself. And so I appreciate each and every one of you for coming and attending and joining these lives today and helping make these messages all the more beautiful and powerful for us to learn. And so let's start with getting a little bit of grounding going. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Ooh, I love that. I haven't done that in a while. Let's do that way. All right, my friends. So this will have a little bit of instruction at the beginning. Firsties, yeah, you like that? Students of the first semester are called Ersties in German. Oh, Firsties. Cool. Love it. All right. So we're going to use our hands to do a little connecting meditation and then go into the message today. So what I invite you to do is to hold, you can't see it because you can't see my waist, but at about waist level, I want you to hold your left hand out, palm facing down. So do this. If you're sitting on a chair with arms, you can rest your arms on the arms of the chair, but you want to hold your left hand, oh wait, sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Hold your right hand out, palm facing down, and your left hand out, palm facing up. So left hand up, right hand down, and just rest them. You don't want to strain your arms, but you're wanting to point your right hand's palm, the palm of your right hand down towards the earth, and you want your palm of your left hand to be raised to the sky, okay? And then make sure your feet are flat on the floor if you're not walking or driving or something like that, but if you're in a position to be able to comfortably do so. Just gently close your eyes. Begin to bring your mind's eye, your focus to your heart center, right in the center of your chest, right to your beautiful heart chakra. Bring to mind something that is easy for you to think of quickly that just brings you great joy. If you were to assign it 1 through 10, it would be high up there, 7, 8, 9, 10, in terms of the amount of joy that it brings you. And just think of a person, place, or thing that the minute you think of it, it just brings you so much joy. Perhaps it's your favorite meal, perhaps it's a book you're reading, conversation or a dear friend. It's great meditation that you had the other day, walk through the woods or a walk along the beach, whatever it is. Bring to mind the person, place, or thing that's just really easy to feel joy for. Allow that to place a seed in your heart. With your mind's eye focused on your heart space, just watch and feel as that beautiful little seed of joy slowly grows right within your heart chakra, becoming this beautiful ball of light. Be the mindful observer. I invite you to pay attention to the size of the ball of light, the way that it glows or shimmers or doesn't, perhaps. What color it is, how bright the light is. Just bask in its beautiful glow. Perhaps it has a cool temperature to it, or maybe it's warm. And it continues to fill the entirety of your chest, deeply and profoundly connecting you with your heart space. When you're ready, begin to extend a beam of light out from this beautiful ball of light in your heart, out up to your right shoulder, down your right arm, past the elbow, into your wrist, all the way down to your fingertips, and then send that beam of light out from the palm of your right hand down into the earth, down into the floor below you, all the way down to the ground, the very ground floor, the very ground of the earth, all the way down through all the different layers of sediment and stone and rock, waterways, all the way down to the very center of the planet. Feel that beam of light anchoring you to the very foundational core of planet Earth. Allow the energy of stability and security, safety, and the ultimate perfect support just flow right back up that beam of light as though it is transmitting all the way up to your hand. Feel all that loving support and groundedness, centeredness flowing up your arm, past your elbow, up into your right shoulder, spreading out and reaching down into your heart space. Just feel as it fills and melds and merges with the beautiful light of joy in your heart. You are now holding in your heart joy, strength, solidity, foundation, groundedness. And then take some of that joy and extend a beam of light from your heart off to the left shoulder, sending it down the left upper arm, past your elbow, past your wrist, and into your left hand, which is facing palm upward in towards the sky, and project that beam of joy all the way up into the sky, up into the stratosphere, past the clouds, all the way up into the upper atmosphere, into the very stars and space above, extending all the way up to the sun. And when it touches the sun, there is a burst of light and heat that comes swirling down your beam of light, full of inspiration, hope, spiritual awareness, connection, love, wisdom, insight, and it comes all the way down to your open left hand palm, in past your left wrist, past the up to the upper arm of your left arm, past your shoulder, and then reaching back to the heart, where all of that love and insight and spiritual wisdom gets to mingle with the joy, the groundedness, and the solidity. Dear Mother Earth, thank you for blessing us with your continual and ever-present support, your groundedness, and your love. Dear Father Sky, thank you so much for bringing us insights and new wisdom, information, and your love. Together they create a space in our heart with the joy that we feel for the person, place, or thing that planted that seed in our heart, and we thank you. We appreciate you and we love you for all that we experience today. And I will now check in with the council. Your guides and councils, please help me out to receive. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day, our dear friends. We greet you from the energetic realms where we love and celebrate every footstep that you take upon planet Earth, every breath that you breathe in, every beat of your heart, and every thought that passes through your beautiful physical mind. Indeed, we celebrate and honor every single attempt you make to connect with your higher mind so that you may be inspired and filled with the wisdom that is available to you on a spiritual, soulful, and energetic level at all times throughout all days. Greetings, dear friends. We hope that you are well today. As we spoke of yesterday, we were discussing how is-ness holds no duality. You may have noted over the last 9 days that there have been hints of what you might consider paradoxical concepts, and today we are getting into the meat of one in particular. For since we have stated that is-ness holds no duality, today we will be stating something that may appear to your mind initially as the opposite of what we just said yesterday, and that is that is-ness holds all perspectives. Indeed, for is-ness does not take any sides. It cannot take the side of good versus bad, or right versus wrong, or us versus them. Indeed, in doing so, it would almost invalidate itself, and it needs to, or actually doesn't need to, for there is no real need or requirement within is-ness, but it simply is true, is the very nature, part of the nature of is-ness, and that it is holding all perspectives. It indeed allows all things to be. It allows all things to be in the most pure and beautiful way. And consider, for example, that is-ness were to suddenly wish to invalidate one particular perspective, perhaps an individual in your life that you are having an argument with, or a political figure that you disagree with, or a particular doctor's opinion, or a particular family member's view of who you are, etc., etc. If is-ness were, for even just an inkling of a moment, to not allow those various perspectives, it would not be allowing its very self. In fact, it would probably implode or explode upon itself. For its very nature is to allow all perspectives and to not align with any particular one. This indeed is something that we invite you to practice cultivating. For as you go through various life experiences, you may find that you have an opinion about this, or you have a perspective about that, and it may not be in agreement with other individuals or other aspects of what's going on in your world, in your family, and your society. Well, it is fine to not be in agreement with all of the other individuals. There is nothing within the nature of is-ness that requires universal agreement. In fact, it thrives off of allowing all perspectives. For indeed, is-ness cannot grow and expand if it does not hold space and allowance for all things to be. Neither can you grow or expand if you do not learn how to hold space and allowance for all things to be. When you begin to practice this sort of is-ness nature within your own existence, with your own is-ness, you find that when you encounter something that is difficult for you, while it may initially spark some resistance or insistence, we love how our dear friend Bashar talks about how insistence equals resistance. Indeed, this encounter with a particular individual or a life experience may indeed spark some resistance or insistence in you. It may rile or rouse your feathers, whatever the phrase is. We apologize for our verbiage, but you get the gist. It may bring up some sort of emotional charge or thought or something that makes you not feel so well. Well, as you recognize, oh, there I go, I'm being this way right now, and that is fine. If you begin to train your mind to reach for alternate perspectives, even when you do not necessarily feel that you have access to them, if you cultivate a willingness to see things differently, you will begin to do so. It may take several hours or several days, it may even take longer, but as long as you continue to cultivate and hold within your heart a willingness to see alternative perspectives to yours or to those of you to those you are encountering or interacting with who you do not agree with, then at some point you will be able to more readily and more fluidly determine what works for you and what doesn't, such as what we were speaking about yesterday. But not only that, you will begin to have a respect and an understanding for where the other individuals are coming from, for you will be allowing them their own isness. You will indeed then be aligning with the true nature of isness, as we stated at the beginning of this transmission, and whereas isness allows all things. Isness allows duality. It does not hold duality. It does not hold a particular perspective. It allows duality. Indeed, it allows all perspectives, for quite often there is no such thing as just duality when it comes to the various alternative perspectives that are available to a particular encounter or life experience. So this indeed gets into the meat of the paradoxical nature of isness. We have said before that there can be no such thing as not isness, for if there were not isness, it would counter the fact that there is isness. So there cannot be non-existence. And if there is no non-existence, then there is the existence of all perspectives. Again, a bit of a rabbit hole if you allow your physical, third-dimensional mind to grasp a hold of it and try to calculate it, analyze it, and figure it out. But if you allow your heart to open to it, you very quickly and readily realize the truth of this, and yet also how difficult it is for the mind to understand it. And indeed, when you encounter an individual or a perspective that is not necessarily in agreement with yours, if you find that that individual is very vehement and very committed, note the way that we say this, a little bit of exaggeration unintentionally, if they're very committed to their perspective, you begin to recognize those individuals, and you begin to recognize that they are very much living from their minds and not their heart. For if they were truly coming from their heart, they would have room to consider other perspectives from their own, even if they chose not to change their perspective. For indeed, there is nothing in life that requires, as we said, that requires universal agreement on all topics. In fact, you cannot proceed or you cannot progress evolutionarily into the experience of being love, and that is important for transitioning into the higher frequencies and vibrations, particularly that of unity. You cannot reach those levels of vibrational consistency if you do not hold space in your heart for all things, an allowance for all things to be, an allowance for all perspectives, including duality, including perspectives you do not agree with. For indeed, unity as a frequency, as an energy, one of the seven that we represent, the second of the seven that we as the council represent, unity indeed has nothing to do with universal agreement. It has everything to do with isness. And so we will leave you with this message today, that isness holds allowance for all perspectives, and we encourage you to practice and learn how to do the same. And we encourage you to do this because this will open your heart. This will allow more of who you truly are, your sacred, soulful spirit energy, to come through into your life. And not only this, our dearest friends, it will allow for you to connect more fluidically and more consistently with the synchronous nature of life. For when you are allowing multiple perspectives, you are not attaching your mind, and thus yourself or your identity, to any particular perspective if it doesn't work for you. You have the power of choice of what to believe in. You have the power of choice of what perspectives you wish to entertain or hold. But when you open your heart to hold the capacity, to have the capacity to hold all perspectives that you can fathom at this current time, then you are indeed expanding your very own essential nature, and that is part of isness as well. It is why isness hold space for all perspectives, for the universe itself, existence, all that is, cannot learn if it excludes any one particular perspective. It cannot learn about itself. It cannot learn about existence itself if it excludes a particular perspective. So why do humans insist on attaching themselves to particular perspectives and excluding others? For there are only opportunities to learn from those perspectives. When we stop making things right and wrong, good and bad, us versus them, such as what we spoke of yesterday, then you open the heart's capacity to hold and consider all perspectives. And we will leave you with this today. We look forward to meeting with you again tomorrow, and we thank our dear beloved channel Greg for showing up daily, every weekday for this. We realize that this is at times a challenge and confronting for you, dear Greg, but we know that you are expanding and growing, and you know this too. And you are doing so in service of your beloved community. And we appreciate all of you who show up for these most enjoyable sessions. At least for us, they are most enjoyable. So we thank you, we love you, and we celebrate every single thought that flows through your mind, every single conversation you have with anybody that you encounter, and every single drop of rain that falls upon your head. And we bid you good day. Hi. Oh, wow. It felt like another deep one. I'm going to have to re-listen to that. Hi. Hello. What are we saying? Good morning, Jackie. April says, OMG, this message resonates with something I learned about indigenous usage of the talking stick. Their perspective is to accept another's point of view without seeking to understand it, versus seeking to understand someone's point of view in order to accept. They believe that we don't have to agree, just accept. Allow, accept, allow. Yes, indeed. I love that, April. Thank you for sharing what you have recently, newly learned. I love that. Jack says, a beautiful message. Thank you. Yes, April. Carrie says in agreement. April, I love the idea of a talking stick, says Jack. Wow, how was that message? My goodness gracious. I felt like they were covering a lot again. Have you noticed how their tone of voice and their energy, like their inflection changes and the energy of it changes? And it's almost like they're filling the gaps with energetic I don't know, just like they're filling the gaps with something. I feel that way. I'm not sure. It's energy. It's nonverbal. It's nonverbal information, I guess. Yeah. Madeline, yes, so good. Oh, good. Carrie, if we are part of divine, then divine cannot experience humanity if we exclude other perspectives. Exactly. Well, existence itself can't experience itself. If the very purpose of existence is to exist, and it were to exclude all the possible perspectives that existence can hold, then it would be excluding part of itself. It's just like when we judge a part of ourselves and invalidate it as being a part of what is in this moment, we're actually energetically removing it as a stepping stone for our growth. And yet if we can hold that open, loving, compassionate heart space, that full allowance of all perspectives and all things to be in their own time and place, then we are not invalidating anything. And when we don't invalidating everything, everything's valid, and therefore we can grow from everything. We can learn from everything. We can find a beneficial outcome from everything. There is just so many layers to what they're talking about, so many different ways to apply it. Yeah, they say you're welcome, Carrie. April says, I also relate to physics and polarities. Light and dark coexist. Exactly. Yeah. Well, and in fact, polarities are just an expression of two specific frequencies that are, I think, I don't know a lot about the science, but that are opposites of each other. Polarities aren't the only thing that exists. There's all these other frequencies. There's all these other, it's a spectrum. It's a question of degrees again, just like we were talking about the other day. It is always comes down to a question of degrees. And perspectives and opinions always come down to a question of degrees as well. But when we're seeking agreement, then we're over-identified with one or multiple perspectives. But if we're just seeking acceptance and allowing, then we are channeling love. Then we are in the is-ness of what it means to be love. Yes, we don't have to agree or align with everything. Exactly. Jack says they're giving us so many beautiful messages. We need you to write a book, Greg. Oh my gosh. I don't know about that. I'm not excited by the prospect of writing a book. Doing a movie? Putting a video together? I mean, this is becoming a master class. I mean, we have the videos. I upload all the replays. So we do essentially have this, and I'm most likely going to take the audios from this and make a course and put it on Insight Timer. Acceptance of all, says Carrie. Christine says when their tone changes, it feels emotional. Tell me more about that, Christine. Tell me more about how you're experiencing that. April got an analogy of a tree that reuses... Oops, I keep scrolling. That reuses to drop its dead leaves. Nature is teaching us we cannot grow new leaves or branches if it refuses to drop its dead leaves. Yes, indeed, when a tree drops its dead leaves, it feeds, it gives nutrients to the earth and the ground beneath it that then supplies and helps feed the next round of, let's say it's a fruit-bearing tree, the next round of fruit and the next round of even the beauty and the next round of leaves or flowers, depending on what kind of plant or tree it is. I love that, April. Yeah, Susan Sage uses there was a great meditation about the cyclical nature of abundance, using a tree as an example. That was really cool. Acceptance does not equal agreeance. Well said, Madeline, and I love how you put the ants in both words. You put the ants in there. Yeah, very cool. CB asks, where does compromise fit in? That's a really good question, CB. I don't think compromise... I don't know, we'd have to ask the council. Maybe we could ask tomorrow, because I think Wednesdays are going to... From now on, I think Wednesdays are going to be consistently kind of a Q&A about what the council's been sharing with us. I think that fits in the cadence of what we're doing on a weekday and on a daily basis. So CB, come back tomorrow and hold on to that. I don't have time today. I know I can feel that this is a question that the council needs to answer and not me make an attempt, because I can feel that there are nuances and subtleties right in the answer of the question, and I would much rather have them answer it for you than me make an attempt. But I will say, I think that compromise is a human concept. And I say that from the place of what they just shared with us. If is-ness holds and allows for all perspectives, then there may be something new that is an alternative to compromise that aligns with allowing all those perspectives. Because what a compromise does is says, I can't agree with it. This side can't agree and this side can't agree. So we come together in where we can agree, right? And in a way, compromise does honor those other two perspectives. But in a way, compromise is also disallowing certain aspects of those perspectives. So it doesn't feel energetically balanced to me. It is necessary in life right now sometimes, but I think that it may be... Yeah, I'm really curious now. Great question, CB. Thank you. I can't wait to hear what the council says. So please come back tomorrow and ask that, because I think we all would love to hear what the answer is. Madeline says this is the sign for not equal, not the same. Yeah, in fact. Yes, indeed. Acceptance does not equal agreeance. Yeah. Gwen says, I was just learning about an Indian saint and how they believe they reincarnate so that they learn and don't come back. At the same time, I'm learning about people that want to make a beautiful life here so that they can come back. It's interesting to look at both perspectives and know that neither is right or wrong. Yeah, they just are. They just are. This is why religion doesn't work so well on the planet that much anymore, right? They're so wed to a particular perspective of what the divine is, and they're at odds with each other around it, and they're not in loving allowance of each other necessarily. I mean, in certain degrees they are. Certain denominations, I mean, I look at the Center for Spirituality, for Spiritual Living, and others, they are in allowance of all perspectives. They actually honor all perspectives, but I'm thinking about some of the traditional religions. They have a harder time allowing the other religions their perspective, It'll be curious to see what happens with things like that. Christine says it feels more like instructional or higher energies. I have to agree with you. It definitely feels like even when they're pausing or not saying anything, they are actually transmitting something to us. Carrie would say that it comes to love because you have to love and understand to make the compromise. Well, perhaps. Who knows? We'll find out. Compromise is relative. It's win-win, lose-lose, or win-lose. Which side are you on? Yeah, again, it's about bringing... I'm not invalidating compromise, because when you're dealing with individual perspectives that are very defined, meaning they're living in their heads, they're living in their mind, they're coming from their mind and not their heart, and they're so defined, then compromise is necessary to find common ground. But I think that there is a higher perspective that we can learn about, and I hope that the council will share that. Anne asks, just curious how to apply this in our life. Sometimes things get murky in life, and something or someone may do something that innately affects us negatively. So doesn't deflecting that avoid part of our growth? They're not encouraging deflection. Deflection of something is just another perspective, right? Allowing, it may not be easy, especially if this is a new topic for you, but allowing another perspective to exist without invalidating it, oh man, the mind is not equipped for that. The heart is, though. So I would say this is a call to come more into the heart space and to see things through the eyes of love, perhaps, is one way to say it. This is a topic I've struggled to balance, Anne says, because I don't want to deny what comes up for me, because that can feel like bypassing. As someone who tried to compromise and understand, doing it too much can feel like self-betrayal. Would love a deeper inner knowing. And this is a great question for tomorrow as well, Anne. So I hope that you can come back and join us for tomorrow. We'll be doing Q&A for that. It is a beautiful question, and I totally get and I can emotionally connect with what you're talking about. But I will just reiterate that the council's not talking about deflecting. They're not talking about invalidating any one perspective. That is the allowing isn't agreement. Okay, because you can allow something to exist and not agree with it. That is allowing as well. When you don't agree with it, you're basically, if you don't agree with it, but you don't push against it, or if you don't deflect it or escape from it or avoid it, you're allowing it to be. And you're allowing yourself, you're giving yourself allowance to be where you're at with your perspective around it. That is true freedom, because that is where your power of choice lies. And that is where I will leave it for that. But that is a really, really beautiful question, Anne. And I hope that you can bring it tomorrow. I won't be able, you guys will have to remember your questions, by the way, for tomorrow, because I won't remember them, and two, I won't have access to the chat here. You're welcome, Anne. It's a beautiful question, and I can feel your depth and sincerity in wanting to understand this. And I think that alone is enough for you to begin your expansion and your growth on this. And I'm sorry to hear that you've struggled with it, but it sounds like you're maybe at a point where it's, you're having an opening for it. So it's really, really, really cool. It's a cool question. Yes, I agree with Madeline. Compromise is finding a middle where all sides find themselves in agreement to the smallest common and both feel it's satisfying enough to be okay, yet still both giving something up. Yes. Well, unfortunately, though, compromise is just another perspective. So I believe that there is a higher... Think about it this way. This is what's fascinating about this part of the conversation. If there were something other than compromise that allowed for all perspectives to exist, that didn't insist on agreement, imagine how much more egalitarian conversations could be on this planet. Because the mind is the part that's insisting on certain ways of being. And in fact, even compromise to a degree is a level of insistence. If you can't agree and you can't agree, but there is a few things that we can all agree on, then there is a level of insistence. There's acknowledging the resistance, which is important, and allowing the resistances of the different perspectives. And so compromise, I believe, is like it's important right now, and it's important when dealing with two very wed or two or more very solidified perspectives, right? But when we're coming from the heart and we're in Is-ness and we're allowing all perspectives to be, what replaces... Is there a need for compromise? If we're allowing all perspectives to be, if we're no longer caring about agreement and we're allowing everything to be, that just opens up a whole new possibility. I don't even know what we would call it. I mean, it doesn't even necessarily need a name, but it's a whole new level. It's a whole new level. Like even just saying it is like, whoa, that is like super, super wild. My mind just got blown. Yes, it will indeed be interesting to hear what the council has to say about all of this. You're welcome, Anne, very much. Yeah, anything that works for me, I don't quote unquote compromise on. However, if I'm in conversation with somebody and I have something that's not a deal breaker, it's not a compromise. I'm not letting go of my values. I'm honoring my values, but I'm also at the same time honoring the value that I get from being or interacting with that other person, for example. I'll give you an example. Last year, I struggled in my job search because there was a part of me, all I wanted to do was just do these lives and run my conscious business and try to grow it, and that's all I wanted to do. But at the time last year, when I needed stability and I needed longevity and I needed consistency and I needed financial support, and I didn't know how to get that by doing conscious business, I realized I needed, in order to support myself and in order to continue to be able to provide service to you guys, I wanted a type of work position that could provide that. But I struggled once I realized that it was time to go get a part-time job. I struggled with what the nature of that would be like, because I didn't want to give away my freedom. I wanted, there were lots of different priorities, values that I had, preferences, what works for me and doesn't. And so instead of capitulating to the way the world sees how work should be, most of the world, not all of it, I decided this is the kind of job I want. I want fun and fulfillment and freedom and flexibility, and I want financial fluidity from it. And I got my dream job. I work remotely from home. I work when and how often I want and how much I want. They do not dictate my hours other than the various work meetings. They offered me $1.42 more higher than the range of money that I set that I felt would be acceptable for my support, right? And I also wanted to be in a really complementary, a collaborative environment where I was working together. I felt collaboration and camaraderie with the team members. I got all that in spades, and more, because I held to my vision of what would work for me, even though it didn't match 95% of the job listings I was looking at. It didn't match it. I got very frustrated. I got very discouraged. If anybody remembers last summer, it was not easy for me doing that job search. But the very last job I applied to was this job that I got. It took a couple months to get it because there was interview process and everything, but I love this job. It is exactly what I needed. It is more than what I needed. The universe, it was synchronous for me and in perfect alignment with my values. And yet I'm not compromising, but I stayed with my values and got what I wanted within a scenario that I was dead set against. I was dead set against trading my time for money with a company. And yet this company is in perfect alignment with my personal mission. Like, what they're doing is my mission on the planet already. They're already doing it. They've been doing it for years. And I also did it because I wanted to learn new things business-wise, which I'm totally learning. So the whole of this experience has not been a compromise for me, even though one could say, oh, well, you compromise on some of your values and compromise on some of your opinions. One could say that. One could. But for me, it was just the fulfillment of all my desires and what I wanted to have from a particular job. And I've never had a happier job experience in my life. Yeah, and it worked out because I stayed true to, I figured out what worked for me. I figured out what I wanted, and I created a vision for it. And I stayed in my excitement, and it became manifest. Well, it already manifested the minute I put it into motion, because it wasn't even about the physical. The physical eventually showed up because my heart and my mind were aligned with my higher self. Yeah, so cool. So hard to accept that which is unjust, unlawful, hateful, to just let it be and not react. You can react, and you can let it be. The reaction informs you. The reaction informs you of what you are believing, CB, and that is the only thing that matters. What others are doing doesn't matter. What you are believing and how you are responding to what they're doing is the only thing that does matter, because this is your life. Yes, we are living in an agreed collective, but it is still your life, and you get to choose how you wish to respond to what is happening. And for some individuals, they see what's happening and they decide to take certain actions. For others, they see what's happening and it affects them emotionally. For others, they see what's happening and it doesn't affect them at all. It's going to be different for everybody, and that is the beauty of this message today. The allowing of all perspectives is one of the essential natures of Is-ness. Anyways, fascinating conversation. Ann says, that's beautiful. I'm experiencing the exact same. I would love to hear those values you look for. I would love more inspiration for curating my desired outcome. It's really simple, Ann. Identify the ways in which you want to feel. One of the things I first learned from my very first channel guide, Dr. Peebles, and even Abraham talks about this. Whenever you want something in life, it always boils down to how you think that thing, that item, or that experience will make you feel. So it is truly what we're wanting is ways of feeling, states of being. And if you can identify, regarding the job hunt, this is what I did. If you can identify how you want to feel and continue to ask the universe for that, then the universe will knock your socks off and it will over-deliver what you're wanting to feel. So I knew already that I wanted to feel fulfillment, fun, freedom, flexibility, and financial fluidity. Financial fluidity is not an emotion, but it's my best attempt at at assigning a word that means the emotional feeling of having finances flow through my life. Synchronicity of finances, if you will. So yeah, I would start there, my dear friend. Identify how you want the job to make you feel, and then just focus on the feelings. And as you're looking through job listings, this is what I did. As you're looking for job listings, instead of reading the descriptions in a very mechanical or mental way, you read it and you tap in. Does that sound like a job that would have freedom for me, for example? Does that sound fulfilling? Do I feel inside a sense of fulfillment as I read this description, right? Because there's energy in the description. Does this sound fun? Does this feel fun when I read this description? No? Well, then don't apply, etc. and so forth. Anyways, much more. There is much more to that. Madeline says, or let me rephrase, their reaction gives me a hint of information about their beliefs. Sorry. So does that mean others' reaction is an information about their beliefs? Absolutely. Others' reaction is solely their responsibility. Others' reactions to anything, particularly to us, has nothing to do with us. You could say something to me and I could have a reaction. That has nothing to do with you. That has everything to do with what's going on in my mind. Only what's going on in my mind. So the more that we can encompass and embody what the council's talking about today, the allowance of all perspectives, the less reaction we'll have. Why do I not get upset about the current state? I don't like talking about these things, but I'm going to use this as an example. Why do I not get upset about the current state of affairs in the world? I don't. I mean, I do feel things, but I don't get wed or attached to particular perspective, because I see the beneficial outcome in what is occurring right now. Period. I don't know what that beneficial outcome is, but I believe there is a beneficial outcome. And when you believe that there's a beneficial outcome from any experience in life, then no experience in life can faze you unless you have a belief that counters that, unless you have a belief that you haven't unearthed yet that maybe you've been carrying for a long time. I'm sure there's stuff. I bumped into some of my beliefs yesterday with what I was dealing with my family. Not dealing with, but what I was experiencing with my family, what I was experiencing with filing my taxes. I had to face some beliefs that were outdated, and I quickly let those go because it didn't make me feel very good. When what you care about most is how you feel, and what you care about most is your alignment with your higher self, not alignment with what your mind thinks. Your mind is designed to function in the 3D physical world. It can connect and tap into the higher self, but it cannot exist from the higher self's perspective. So when when our whole motivation is to align with all that is, and to align with our higher perspective, align with our higher self, then a whole new world, a whole new way of living begins to open up, and we can start to take responsibility for our beliefs and start to take responsibility for the way that we're thinking, not in a kind of a blame way, but just going, oh, I see how my way of thinking about this, how my way of thinking about how things are unlawful or unjust, or how things are unfair. That's just a perspective, my friends. That's not truth. That may be your truth in the moment, but your truth can shift. Think about an example in your life in which your truth shifted. When you were younger, when we were younger, our parents taught us a certain truth, and then we got older and we saw evidence that their particular perspective wasn't exactly everybody else's perspective, and then we started questioning that perspective, right? And then all of a sudden we're like, I don't agree with that anymore. I want to believe differently. I want to choose something differently about money, or about work, or about love, or about the world. And then we made a difference. Now, here's the thing. That's a lot easier to shift our perspectives, to change our beliefs and our thinking when there's no emotional charge. It is so much harder to do it when there is an emotional charge. And the reason for that, the emotional charge, is just showing the magnitude and depth of that particular belief. It's just showing how deep it is for us, and how it's like, it reminds me of this quote I saw from Britain's Got Talent, where Amanda Holden, one of the judges, was talking to this 10-year-old who was about to perform, and they said, "Are you nervous?" And the kid said, "Yeah, I'm really nervous." And Amanda said, and I've never heard this ever said, and I love this, "That's okay. It's good to be nervous, because nervous means that you really care about what you're about to do." So when you're having a strong emotion, it just means you really care about this particular topic. But if you get identified and over-connected and over-attached to one perspective on it, how are you going to learn and grow from it? You might not even. It's like, if I'm so wed to one particular perspective, I may not even give myself that opportunity to realize that I have choice around that perspective. That might be a perspective I borrowed from society, or I borrowed from family, or I stole from friends, right? And I just adopted it as my own. But it's upsetting me because it no longer really serves me, or I don't believe it anymore. There's just so many different ways to talk about this in perspectives. You're welcome, Anne. That makes sense to me. Feel it into your genuine desires. Yeah, absolutely. April says, "I love that you're not blaming yourself. We don't need to blame or shame ourselves." Exactly. Madeline, next question about everyday life relationships. How to integrate this new seed without others perceiving it as gaslighting them. Gaslighting's such a new term. I don't like it. That's just my beliefs around it. But if we say your reaction just shows information about your beliefs, you don't say that, Madeline. That's not your business. Their perspective is none of your business. Keep your side of the street clean. You do not have to point out. In fact, that would be contentious and potentially conflicting, a conflict. No, you're right. I feel that will not resonate with folks who are not yet on this path. That's the thing. Your ego would want to say that to them only because your ego, your mind, your physical mind, would want them to see things your way, because you want them to understand. And I will give you a great example. Everything my two family members were sharing about yesterday, I'm not in agreement with. I see alternate perspectives. I see other ways they can think about the situations that they're in that are causing them so much fear and stress and pain and suffering. I don't say anything because I know that they are not in a position to hear it, and that's okay. I simply fall back on how I feel for them, which is so much love and appreciation for having family members that feel comfortable to share where they're at, even if I don't understand or agree with their perspective. I understand their perspective, but I see other perspectives. Even when I see other perspectives, I can hold love for them in my heart. That is what we are being called to do. We are being called to get out of our minds, to get out of being wed to how we think about things, and to stick with how we feel about things. Because here is the most beautiful thing that I have ever experienced in my 35 plus years on a spiritual path, is that how I feel cannot be disputed by others. What I think can be disputed by others, but how I feel, that's just me. And that's why, for me, I'm very rich with my emotions. For me, focusing on the feelings, when I first heard that instruction, that focusing on how I'm feeling, and I've heard it over the years in different ways, was truly one of the most instrumental things to help me drop into my heart more, because that's where the feelings live, is in the heart. So cool. You guys are so awesome. Jack says, "Thank you, Greg, and thanks everyone for great." Yeah, these are great. I love these conversations. Carrie says, "This is absolutely fabulous message from you and the council." You're welcome, Carrie. April, I am reading the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. In it, the question on how to be in harmony with our enemies. Confront without adding to their violence and without provoking new violence. Turning the other cheek means to allow their violence to pass through us without contaminating us Ooh, that's interesting. Love to hear a counselor's perspective. April, come back tomorrow and write that again. Cut and paste that if you can. I don't know. That would be very cool to hear the counselor's perspective on that as well. Oh, you won't be able to come for coffee tomorrow, Gwen, but I hope to see you all. Yes, tomorrow, soar together, tomorrow afternoon. Madeline, well, that's the ego, yes. Wanting to explain, have them hop on the wagon too, to open up to others. Yes, I'll give you another example, Madeline. So I used to be in a 12-step program for food addiction. I spent 20 years in it. When I first started, back when I was 23, 24, my father, who also probably was a food addict, but he didn't claim it for himself. I saw behaviors that could have indicated. He would constantly ask me if I wanted something sweet and sugary, and I had given up sugar. I was abstaining from sugar. And at first it pissed me off. It really raised the hairs on my neck, and I kept trying to convince him to see things my way. I kept wanting him to understand what I was going through. I kept wanting him to understand so that he would stop behaving that way and stop asking me. And then wise people who were supporting and helping me helped me see that my insistence that he see it my way and that he understand and agree with my decisions was what was causing me the pain. That was causing the upset. His behavior was just a catalyst for the belief systems, for the perspective that was causing me the pain. His behavior wasn't causing me the pain. Nothing anybody is doing in the world is causing us our own personal suffering and our own emotional reactions. Those are coming from how we think. And so when I let go of my insistence, again, Bashar talks about insistence equals resistance. When I let go of my insistence that my dad behave a certain way and see my decisions and agree with my decisions in a certain way, I found peace. And then he would offer me sugary sweets 10 times in a row, and I never ever got triggered. It no longer pushed my buttons because I found a way to allow him to be, and I let go of my insistence that he be anything other than himself. That was my first introduction to how valuable my own serenity and peace of mind was over anything in the world. And I learned that, and only learned that by having that experience with him, by going through that difficulty, by struggling with his requests and his asks and his offers, and eventually letting it go. No, it's not a test, sweetheart. It's not a test. Yes, this is a school, but these are not tests. These are opportunities. These are just experiences. You can gloss over one experience. It doesn't mean you failed a test. You just ignored that experience, that opportunity for the time being. Another opportunity to grow, to shift and change. I don't like to say necessarily learn, although it is about learning. But another opportunity to grow and shift and change will reveal itself, because that is the synchronous nature of life. Madeline says it's a great example. Thanks for sharing, Greg. You're welcome. When we begin to practice in ways like that, the whole new level of serenity opens up. A whole new level of serenity opens up. And why shouldn't we be serene and happy? Yes, indeed, things happen in our lives. Things happen in the world. Things upset us, but we are born to be happy. It is our birthright to feel good. Opportunities to grow and shift and change. Love this phrasing, indeed. Now, it's okay. I don't have a problem if people still view things as a test. That's fine. I don't, because for me, a test feels like it was designed as a punishment. It's not designed as a punishment. Contrast is designed into life. It's a natural part of life. We're going to have contrasting situations. Being happy and serene doesn't mean we don't experience contrast. It means we don't attach to it. It means we allow. It means we focus on us instead of the other person, people, places, and things, because we can't control anybody else other than our own thinking. We have no control. I had no control over my dad. I tried to control my dad. I tried to make him stop so that I could feel better. That's just codependence. But the minute I stopped insisting that he be a certain way, I was happy. I was serene. I was peaceful. Yeah, what would people want? Anything other than peace? Exactly. Peace within yourself. Yeah. Anne says, that's such an expansive perspective, Greg. We always get new opportunities to try again and to grow and experience new. Yeah, because there is only this moment. So let's say in this moment we miss one opportunity. No big deal. There's the next moment. It has another opportunity. And the next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. Without the test, how do you know you mastered the lesson? Mastery is about expansion, not about completion. And why do you need to master a lesson? There is no lesson. The lesson is life. Life is the unfolding of life as a series of experiences is what creates our growth. I mean, I'm okay with you seeing it as a test and seeing it as lessons. I just don't see it that way because to me that feels limiting. That feels like somebody has imposed something upon me. No, there's no insistence from the universe. Is-ness has no insistence. Existence doesn't sit there and go, oh, Greg missed the lesson on that one. Oh boy, that's just a bunch of judgment. All that is has no judgment. All that is conditionally loving. It is so unconditional. No, I said conditionally. It is so unconditionally loving that it allows us to experience suffering. Not because it doesn't love us, but because it loves us so unconditionally that it allows all possible experiences to be available to us in Earth. And that's why we came here, to experience all possibilities. So, have you mastered a lesson? Sure, maybe you think so, but what's the next level? There could be another level of mastery beyond that. It's just like there's no end to how high the frequency of vibrations go. The vibrational frequencies extend well beyond what we're capable of perceiving right now. So so mastery is a continuum, not a completion, is what I would say. That's my belief. Mastery is a continuum, a continual unfolding, a continual integration. If you want to call them lessons and tests, you can, certainly. For me, if it were a test and a lesson, it wouldn't be about mastery. It would be about the continual integration of each new lesson so that mastery is continual expansion. That would be my perspective on mastery, is that continual expansion, continual growth is the true mastery. It is not a completion or an endpoint. It is mastering the process. It is mastering the experience of how that unfolds. Again, much of what I'm sharing in the last 10-15 minutes is simply my belief system and perspective. Whether it works for you or not, I'm not attached to. I say find your own. Don't just listen to what I say. Listen to what I say. Take what you like and leave the rest, as they used to say in program. Christine says, this makes me experience the depths of it just is. Yes, there is that too, Christine. I love that. And since I was generally not expecting this. I know, right? We don't always get into these deep conversations after the message, but this particular message, I think we're all feeling it. This particular message is incredibly deep, but there's also, as the council alluded to, there is also a very there is a depth of paradoxicality to this. And this is true. The paradoxical nature of this is very deep, and it is very difficult to comprehend this just on a mind level because it goes beyond what the mind is capable of fully perceiving. Oh, I'm so glad you were here too, Anne. This has been truly helpful. I love that for you then. The ancient Chinese wisdom, Madeline says, change is the only constant. Yes, indeed. Carrie, now I get it. I tried to change someone in my past and realized then that I couldn't change him, only change myself. Yeah. April sees an opportunity to just celebrate growth Yeah, I love that, April. Oops, it just scrolled by. Oops, I lost it. Where is it? April, I see it as opportunity to demonstrate growth or expansion. Not harsh, but to reveal where one still needs to heal. An initiation versus a test. Oh, initiation. That's a cool word too. However you wish to see it, April. Absolutely fine. I just don't like using the word test. It's just not in my belief system, because I just don't believe that things are designed to test us. I think that things are designed for us to learn from them, but not as a test. And that's just me. That's just my perspective. I do like initiation too, Madeline. It is a cool word. Integration, I love that word as well. Madeline, mastery is about expansion, not about completing tests or lessons. Me now. Oh, Madeline. How well have we integrated? Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. I was talking a lot and didn't see all the chat. I'm hopeful I can get a second monitor so that I can see the chat better. On this small laptop, it's so hard to see the chat, especially all of your guys' beautiful messages that you are sharing with all of us here. Oh, I see, Anne. Yeah, perhaps the idea of tests comes from the belief of fated events. That's quite possible, yeah. So if we expect that we're on a certain path, it would mean we would have specific outcomes we need to integrate. Yes, that's quite possibly true. Yeah, I could see that perspective for sure. It's not mine, but I could definitely understand and see it. On the other hand, the universe may just be giving us whatever opportunities we want to experience. It's our choice. Lots to think on. Very thought-provoking questions and answers today. Awesome. Madeline, I get what you're asking. Yes, indeed, I do too. I think I used to see it that way too. Yeah, there's no right or wrong. Test is oh, wait, huh? What is that? Patriarchy. I thought it was test is patriarchy focused, and I resonate with what you're saying, Greg. Oh, I see, April. Yeah, I think it's funny that when you said that, I suddenly realized a little bit more about why I don't like the word test. And I think it implies a hierarchy, which hierarchies are what, like trees or pyramids, or like something is higher than right, hierarchy. Even in the word necessarily, it doesn't mean higher, but yeah, hierarchy, right? There's tiers, right? And for me, I feel like it's more like the layers of an onion, or concentric circles. I love models that are based around, like business models that are based on concentric circles rather than on tiers of progression. Concentric circles, I still feel a sense of wholeness with each circle, even though each circle, the smaller one's in the inside, and then the next one is a little bigger, and the next one's a little bigger, and the next one's a little bigger, right? I love models like that because within each phase or each tier or each step, I feel the wholeness. Instead of this hierarchical level, I'm feeling this sense of expansion. So I think that for me, test feels slightly patriarchal as well, but also hierarchical, as though if I don't pass this test, I can't learn the lesson from the next experience. And I don't believe that's true. I think things ebb, and for me, my experience in life is that opportunities ebb and flow. Yesterday, I had the experience of looking at something related to my thinking around my family members and my finances. Today, we're having a different kind of conversation about who knows what I'll experience today. It's not necessarily linear. It's not linear at all. It's fractal, if anything. I don't know. Yeah, it is a deep discussion today. This is fun. I love this, you guys. And I said I was going to keep this short, and I have a meeting in 12 minutes, but this has been so fun. I hope that you've all found value and insight from this. Oh, blessings and lessons. That's cute, Madeline. I love that rhyme. I think we're all being tested, at this time in the universe. Well, if there is any test going on right now, it is more a question, my belief, it is more a question of what you are choosing than anything else. Do you choose to, well, I won't get into it. Energetically speaking, I have heard it said that this is a time of choosing, and that as we solidify the choices that we make, we are solidifying the kind of earth that we wish to live on, and we will not all be transitioning to the same kind of earth as we make our choices. There will be individuals who continue to choose from fear, who continue to choose from insistence and resistance of railing against what is. There will be those individuals, and we must allow them, just as Is-ness allows all perspectives, we must allow them to be where they are, because they're serving a purpose. They are serving, if life itself, if we are here to experience expansion and growth as a soul, then it is our spiritual love obligation. It's not so much obligation, it is our spiritual inspiration to allow others their own path of expansion. We may not agree with it, we may not like it, we may not enjoy it, but we can allow it. Madeline, like levels in a video game. Thinking of the old Nintendo Super Mario. Yes, indeed. Oh, that's cute. I love that. And I don't know if you know, but I'm a huge video gamer. What is the YT name? Would love to come back to. Oh, yes, indeed. Well, anything that I am doing off of Insight Timer is all available through my teacher link. You can find it in my profile. If you've never seen teachers' links on their profiles before, you just simply go to the teacher profile on the app, and then you'll look for the About tab, unless they've moved it since the last time I looked. Somebody let me know. But you can go to the About tab and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the About tab, and that is where they show our teacher link. And that goes to my link tree, and I have all my stuff on there. I'm always happy to connect with anybody through any other means outside. You'll see everything that I have going on in terms of events and other offerings, which I'm not supposed to promote and whatever, but I can talk about my teacher link, and that is where you would look for that. Practicing what the council gave us today. Practice versus test. Ooh, that's pretty too. I love that. Let's go practice. You guys are so great. I love you so much, all of you. Side quests from a video game. Yeah, there's always a main mission. There's always the main quest, and then there's side quests from video games. Everyone is free to choose, in capital letters. Love that, Carrie. All right, my friends, I've got to go. I've got a meeting at work in 8 minutes. This has been, I love you too, Carrie. This has been so absolutely wonderful. Thank you for being here. These sessions and the messages from the council would not be possible without you guys. And from the depth of my heart, I so appreciate that. You guys are helping me calibrate and fine tune and grow and expand my connection with the council simply by your desire to be here and all your beautiful questions. So I really, really love this. I thank you for anybody who follows. Thank you to anybody who listens to my tracks. Thank you for donating. Thank you for checking me out off of Insight Timer. Just thank you for being you, and thank you for sharing this time with me. It just means, I can't say it enough times. It just means so much to me. It just fills my heart. It's very fulfilling and very fun. So with that, I'm going to send you off with lots of love and joy, and have a great day. All right.